friends and family. Welcome to the #1 rated podcast on the internet. Let me start again. Hello, friends and family. Welcome to the #1 rated podcast on the internet, The Random Show. I'm Kevin Rose.
I'm Tim Ferriss.
And this is episode number 520 something.
27.
Yes.
It's a good number.
We seriously, I know it's the random show, we're supposed to do random numbers, but we should seriously figure out what number episode we've done. I have no idea how many we've done.
I have no idea. It's 30-something, 40-something.
Something like that.
Very sporadic.
Yes.
So today we're not drinking wine.
Right. It is, although I wish I was drinking wine because I could use a glass of wine right now, but you're doing a detox.
Yeah, I am taking the entire month off of alcohol and have a bunch of resolutions for this month, and I'm 2 weeks into it. And I feel fantastic. I feel really incredibly good. I'm going to come back to that, but I want you to explain this. So this is a unicorn pepper mill. It is an amazing pepper mill. You can use it for other things too. It's really a fantastic
What
device.
would you use it other than a pepper?
I've used it to grind other herbs.
Since it has your other herbs.
My other herbs. And this is fermented turmeric tea from Okinawa, which we've had a lot of. And so you told me that you usually put some of this on top of it?
Yeah, so basically, I don't know anything about your grinder, but do I just go like this?
It's,
pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Okay, so so let me back up a little bit. Turmeric tea, it has been known as a very potent, awesome herb that a lot of people attribute to really positive effects on the body, especially in inflammation. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of studies around that. One study came out not too long ago, and I'm totally going to screw up the numbers, but what was said in the study is that when you combine turmeric, this is fermented turmeric tea, with black pepper, it helps in human absorption. So meaning that you absorb more into your body, into your bloodstream, whatever it may be. You would know more than I do about this stuff.
Into your eyeballs.
In your eyeballs. No, I'm just saying that like the study was combined pepper, the takeaway with turmeric equals better for you. Yeah. And so because of that, I've started taking black pepper, cracking it over the top of my turmeric tea and enjoying it that way.
Cool, yeah. No, there are a lot of examples of that where one substance will facilitate the bioavailability of another. And I think quercetin is one. Bioperine, which I believe is actually oftentimes an extract of black pepper, is another. So that sort of intuitively makes sense to me.
One thing before we go on, the turmeric tea, for people that don't know, the reason why, at least I got turned on to this initially, was that we picked this stuff up when we were in Okinawa. Yeah. And Okinawa is one of the I haven't found fermented turmeric tea anywhere else outside of Okinawa. No. Okinawa is a small little island off of central Japan. And essentially, they are known for having more people over the age of 100 than any other place on Earth, or close to it. It's like that in
It's one of the blue zones.
Yeah.
And the average, or it might be the median lifespan, is the longest on the face of the planet. So we actually went to Ogimi. We went to the village.
Yeah, that's right.
The highest average lifespan, which was fascinating. And this is one of the things we took away from that trip. This stuff will stain your cups and otherwise, but it is delicious.
But it is one of the things that they consume on a daily basis. And a lot of people talk about the different things that they have there to eat, the fresh fruits and vegetables and everything else they eat. But one of the things that a lot of people, whether this is just folklore or not, attribute to the long lifespan is the fermented turmeric tea. Yeah. That's why I bought like 10 cases of it and I have it back in my house.
Well, we also, when we were traveling around Japan and we had we were interacting with old people all the time. And I think there's more to that story also. Meaning they weren't passive. Mm-hmm. They all felt like they still had a task or meaning. Do you remember how everyone gardened, right? You remember that? Everyone walked around. I remember when we went to one of the markets, you saw, 100-plus-year-old women, most likely. That's how old they were walking around. Our driver, our taxi driver, who ended up helping us out, had to be, I think he was in his 80s. Yeah. And super spry guy. Yeah. But I made a habit of asking, because I was sort of the group translator, what do you attribute the long life to? And everybody had a different answer. But
some said the salt.
Some said the salts. Other people said the turmeric tea, which I like anyway, so there's no real
downside to
drinking it. And the thing that really jumped out at me was, in traditional Okinawan food, at least, the lack of white rice. So it was primarily, we ate a lot of fish, a lot of sea vegetation, and they consumed
a lot of seaweeds.
A lot of seaweeds, and a very dark purple sweet potato,
so good,
which was amazing. But it was on the average a very low glycemic meal, and
a wide range of colors.
Yeah,
they always tell you that, like the color spectrum, like a wide range of colors.
But they also ate a lot of pork and pork fat, and so it didn't fit this clean categorization that I've seen before. People are like, well, they're vegetarian or mostly vegetarian, and you have to be careful about, I think, the very little equals none fallacy, meaning you can't use Okinawans, even if they eat predominantly vegetable protein with some animal protein, as a justification for, say, pure veganism. You can't do it, because having very little of something and having none of it can sometimes be, it very often is black or white, right? But lots of greens, certainly, lots of vegetation. Anyway.
It was a fun time. One of the things that I enjoyed, especially I find that in Japanese culture in general, is their appreciation for old people. Like, Like, I really think there's something cool about, like, how you can look at someone. I feel like I just don't get this sense in the United States. Like, oftentimes, like, we're just like, old person, get out of our way. Like, we're busy, we're young, it's like,
I've seen you punch a lot of old people. It's really
I punch old people all the time. So I get protested. Honestly, though, like when you look at how they treat the elderly as more of like a treasure, as something to be treasured because of the wisdom that is there, it's just so cool, and it seems like just the right way to do things.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot recently because
you're getting old.
I'm getting old. I have great grandkids already. God bless them. And well, I've been thinking about sort of fulfillment, contentment, happiness a lot in the last few months, and the extended family structure that you see in, say, many places in the Philippines, you see it in Indonesia, you see it throughout most of the world outside of, say, first world, highly industrialized countries, where you have the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, and so on in this collective support structure.
I'm icing my leg. I was skateboarding before on a half pipe and hurt it. Keep going.
So
it hurts.
I know. So which is why we fed you some drugs too.
That's right. Aunts, uncles.
Yeah, they're great. Who doesn't love family? So no, there's this very supportive, non-isolated structure whereby the task of raising, say, a kid doesn't turn into a full-time job for one parent or both parents, because it's spread across this entire structure.
Support, like family support structure.
And I think that that's also one of the roles that grandparents have traditionally had. But when you move to, whether it's SF or New York or any, if you want to call it modernized city, I think we get pulled so out of that. And something I've been thinking a lot about, so this was coming back to the resolutions that I made for this month, just being in tune with what we need as social animals. Does that make sense? And also as physical animals. So just like getting outside, spending a lot of time outdoors. But a few of the resolutions I made were no alcohol for this month at all, which has been fascinating for a few reasons. I've realized how much drinking dictates a lot of my social engagements, dinners, meetings, everything. And so the dynamic changes a lot when you don't have that.
It's hard for me.
It's tough.
It's hard because I don't like talking like to random people. I have a really hard time. It's like something like I can admit here because you're all friends, but no, but it's like when I'm a geek, like, and it's hard to like engage and go to a dinner where you don't know 20 people. Yeah, like you get invited to a big dinner.
It's a social lubricant,
and you go out and you like, you have a couple drinks and finally you're like, okay, I can relax a little bit. I can talk to some folks. It's just difficult for me.
Yeah,
Are you good like that? Can you just
I'm not. So this has been, aside from all the health benefits, and I'll come back to that, there are, and I love to drink. I will drink in the future. This is not a forever thing, but I'll stick with my turmeric tea for now, and other medicinal herbs and spices. But I'm getting distracted.
Black pepper.
Like black pepper, clearly. the drinking has led me to have greater perspective on just how I interact with the vast majority of people and the crutches that I have, right?
It is a crutch.
So that's one. Second is waking up earlier. So I've never, of my own volition, like without an alarm clock or a boss or something, woken up, say, before 9 o'clock. I just don't do it. I'll go to bed at 5, 6 in the morning, wake up super late. And deciding to wake up between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Just, even if I go to bed at 5, I have to wake up between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. And then, that's during the week. The weekends I sleep in. And then I take, if I do feel tired, then I take a nap in the afternoon. And walking at least an hour a day outside.
10,000 steps.
I just go for an hour.
Okay.
And no porn for a month.
I mean, you being serious?
Yeah.
Are you that addicted to porn?
No, you don't have to be like a 12-dayer to get rid of porn. I wasn't addicted to it. It was a lazy habit. And
Just like you just come home and you're just like, what's on PornTube? RedTube.
you can pretend like you don't know what they are. That's
Honestly,
fine.
God, I will tell you the truth. I do know what they are, but like I don't say this in like a slam.
XXX,
No.
whatever.
I don't mean this to be like. Don't take this the wrong way, but like
I will take it the wrong way. So
have
just
a wife that I'm satisfied with. So I don't really feel the need to like. I can't tell you the last time I pulled up before I was living with my significant other. I can't tell the last time I pulled up. Is that bad?
No, it's not bad. I think that you also, maybe you have.
I mean, maybe you're addicted to it. That's fine.
Maybe you have a narrative that you need to fulfill because you're afraid of offending people.
Dude, I swear to you, I would admit it here. I honestly, I mean, I would tell the truth. I'm just telling you, like, when you.
Maybe you have low testosterone.
It could be.
So, all right, no, this is so. Couple things.
Let's talk real talk.
No, let's talk real talk. So, no.
How many times do you think people have to have sex a week? Like, what's the norm?
I have no idea.
No, what's the norm? Graham, what do you think the norm is for people in general to have sex per week? Come on, we can all talk about this.
No, well, hold on. No. How often do they have sex, or how often do they feel compelled to have sex?
Well, like, so I'm in my late 30s, you're in your late 30s. Like, sure, 5 years ago.
Let's not be crazy here.
What?
How old are you?
37.
Okay, you're in your late 30s. I'm 36. I'm like at the I'm not mid 30s.
Splitting hairs, dude.
I don't have any hairs to split. Maybe I am late 30s. All right, that's fair.
So you're telling me? Well, here's the deal. Like real talk. Like back when I was in my early 20s or late 20s, even. Like those sites, like sure, I had a freaking testosterone running through my body like crazy, and I was like on that like every other day or whatever, you know. But like
once a month at least.
What? No, I'm just saying, like I don't know that like I have the same like I want to have to go watch porn all the time, like feelings. Like
all right, so hold on. No, I agree with you. So the
how often were you hitting it?
Like hold on. I mean, this is Pandora's box. Wasn't crazy. Like, I mean, a couple times a week.
That's not crazy.
Something like that. But the thing is, here's what I noticed. As soon as I stopped drinking, it's a multivariate test. It's a bit hard to say one thing caused the next. But since I've stopped drinking, stopped porn, how many friends, and obviously not naming names, but like, we know so many friends collectively who have chronically low testosterone, who are otherwise appear healthy, act healthy. It is a real problem in tech. I have so many people confide in me just because I'm a lunatic and do tons of blood tests and I've taken a bunch of drugs and I know how all this stuff works. I have a lot of people come to me with extremely low testosterone. I mean, incredibly low testosterone. And you look at the behavior, and I'm just trying to figure out, I'm like, all right, is it laptops with the light, let's say blue light at night, that perhaps affects how luteinizing hormone is produced, and then that affects how testosterone is produced? Sure. There are a lot of things, right? Is it
drinking too?
Is it? Oh, definitely lowers testosterone. Is it the laptops? And in fact, there have been some studies that have looked at the heat of laptops, where people are actually just decreasing their sperm count by having.
They don't get so hot anymore. They're pretty efficient now.
Fair enough. But there are all these different contributors. This has just been 2 weeks.
Wait, I have heated car seats.
Yeah, you're killing your balls.
Does that really impact my testosterone?
I mean, heat affects.
I love it though. It's like nice and warm.
Well, maybe you don't need. Maybe I don't know.
That's why
maybe you can move into a more androgynous state of being. I mean,
this is
it's worked for other people.
This is why I'm trying to get to like what is the norm.
No. So here's where I'm going with it. Just to like, I'm burying the punchline here, is that my testosterone has shot through the roof in the last 2 weeks.
Well, you're not masturbating. Does that? I think you're like getting backed up or something, or like would that
hold on.
attribute to?
No. I mean, we'll leave that aside for now. But the
All joking aside, does that attribute to it? Like if one doesn't like catch and release, what one doesn't like watch, like if one doesn't watch RedTube, does that increase testosterone if you're not doing that?
Yeah, I would imagine so. And I mean, the other thing is that I think there's so much like hyper aggressive, fucked up, in my mind, porn out there. It's just like, if you're watching that stuff all the time, and there have been plenty of people who've written about this intelligently, but like what you see as like the norm is so nearly impossible, and you probably wouldn't want to recreate it in real life, that it affects your sex drive and your relationships. I think it's a serious problem. And I've just felt, I'm not saying there's some great porn out there, don't get me wrong. Momoko and Angelica, for those people wondering, give it a search.
You're gonna cut that out of this episode later. You're gonna call me tomorrow and be like, you know what I mentioned?
It's very artful, it's female friendly, check it out, you'll love it. Angelica with a J. And you know you're gonna search it later. Anyway, so where was I going with that? So the point being,
this is such a random show.
It is
a classic random show.
The point being that I have looked at these chronic issues among my friends who should be healthy, and we've identified micronutrient deficiencies, selenium, I've had people go through injectable testosterone therapy, topical testosterone therapy. Nothing seems to work, or they become dependent on that. It's a fucking nightmare. And the point I'm making is, for the first time in a very long time, I'm like, I'm gonna wake up in the mornings and get more sunlight. I'm going to completely eliminate alcohol for a month, no matter what. I am going to not watch porn to the extent possible. Actually, no, I've been very good for a month. And just that alone, my testosterone has skyrocketed, and my just sense of well-being has skyrocketed. And part of the way you can tell, maybe you can even see it on my forehead, is your sebaceous glands, which are activated by androgens, produce more oil, right? So you're gonna have to wash your face more, perhaps, but usually a pretty good correlate to increased testosterone levels. And that's all I have to say about that.
Crazy.
Yeah, just keep it fucking simple.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like what I was trying to get at initially, and all joking aside, like I was just trying to figure out.
All joking aside, I jerk off 17 times a week. No,
I'm just trying to figure out what is like, as you get older and into your like kind of later 30s, like you talk to your doctor and you say, what is normal testosterone? What does that mean? What does that translate to, like sexually, like sexual energy wise, like. Does that mean like you would want to have sex like twice a week? Does it mean 5 times a week? Because I know when I was in my late 20s, like 5 times a week would have been awesome. You know what I mean? And now, like as I get older, a couple times a week sounds great, and maybe if it's 3, I'm kind of tired. So like, is that the question? Is like that like something that I should be looking into?
Should you be worried about it, or is it just normal? Is it the baseline?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think,
and but I will say this. Sorry, and I'll let you talk. I will say,
I'm tired of hearing myself talk.
I will say that I agree with you 100%. I noticed that if I drink less, thank you. If I drink less, I certainly have more energy for all activities. I think that's a great starting point. I want to actually give that a shot and do a month detox on that as well.
I will give you $1,000 if you go a month without drinking.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, it has to start when I get back from my trip.
This is what's going to happen.
I have a vacation. Do not ruin my vacation. Why do you want to ruin my vacation?
You're always on fucking vacation.
No, I'm not. You are always on vacation. No, every time I talk to you, you're in fucking another country. I'm just saying, like, let's pick a date and let's do 30 days. I'll even chronicle it. I'll like record myself every day and be like, Tim, going to bed, didn't drink, $1,000. Let's do this. I get to pick the start date though, and it will be in the next couple months.
Wait, okay. All right. So what's the like max deadline?
I have to look at my calendar, but within the next couple months, we'll have a start date.
All right. What if you do not do it in the next 6 months?
Then I'll give you $1,000.
Okay, done. I'm $1,000 richer already. I should start planning on what to buy with this $1,000.
Maybe we can donate to a charity.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a great point. I could do that too.
Thank you.
And that is a splendid idea. If I make $1,000 from Kevin, I will donate my $1,000 to. Let's see here. There are a ton of really good ones.
Hand Up. Hand Up. That new one that in San Francisco that's helping homeless people. It's really awesome.
I don't know.
Dude, I gotta show you this website.
Right. I'll do
it's like Kickstarter for homeless people. It's awesome.
That needs more explanation.
No. It's really good.
I know Kickstarter for homeless people needs more explanation. But yeah, I will give $1,000 to donor shoes because I do a lot of donor shoes. So to public school classrooms out there that need help. Donorshoes.org, check it out.
One of the things I wanted to cover that I think is pretty fascinating that we can chat about. I don't know if have we covered like Bitcoin and other things like that on the show. I'm sure at some point.
Not all too much. It came up, and
because I know you've dabbled. You've bought like one Bitcoin.
No, I have more than one Bitcoin, but I mean I don't have a ton in Bitcoin. I find it interesting, but I don't know enough about it to feel like I have any type of informational advantage. So I'm not going to go beyond dabbling at this point.
Yeah, so one of the things that I do another little video series called Foundation, and I recently sat down with the founder and like kind of chief original developer for something called Dogecoin. And it is an offshoot of Litecoin, which is one of many cryptocurrencies that exist today. Basically what happened is when Bitcoin originally came out...
I said microcurrencies.
Yeah, cryptocurrencies. So.
I need to drink more.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrencies.
So when Bitcoin originally came out a few years ago, it took a couple years for it to gain some momentum, some traction, and then once that happened, because it was open source, meaning the source code was available to anyone and everyone, people could then take that and fork it and clone it and create other currencies with slightly different tweaks. So some of them will process transactions faster. Some of them will allow you to mine and find coins using GPUs, which are video cards, versus CPUs, like the processors. So they all have like these little different tweaks to them. One of the things that is interesting is, I've been watching a lot of these like little alternative coins, they call them altcoins, that are offshoots of Bitcoin, just to kind of see if there's anything interesting that appears. Oftentimes with a lot of technology, like you have the kind of first mover advantage of being Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin is the leader in the space. Yeah. But sometimes, the smaller, more nimble like offshoots will be able to innovate faster and create interesting kind of derivative work. So one of them, Dogecoin, which I've been following for probably a couple months now, is actually pretty compelling. It is a cryptocurrency just like Bitcoin, but they, rather than have just, I think Bitcoin's what, Graham, like 35 million, 34 million total coins will ever be in existence, something like that. So Dogecoin is 100 billion. And the reason they did that is because of the Austin Powers, where Dr. Evil goes $100 billion. So it started off as a joke based on a meme. So Doge was that dog. Yeah. You ever see that dog, that Shiba Inu, that has like a smirk on his face?
No.
No?
Maybe I haven't. I just
you probably have. Anyway, we'll put a picture of him up in the video. But it started off as like a joke. Someone's like, oh, I'm going to create a meme based on this dog, and it'll just be funny. I'll use Comic Sans font for all the stuff and everything, and we'll just make a joke alternative currency. But because it was so weird and different and a friendly, approachable coin, all of a sudden, all these people, it attracted an audience. It attracted, hold on, this gets even better.
No.
It attracted an audience of people that like to tip each other online and like to support causes. Okay. So what they did is they've done a few causes. They did one that was to fund the Jamaican bobsled team in the Winter Olympics. Okay. And they went out and funded that. Based on, so everyone tipped in and pooled in to go fund that.
Eric Nakagawa also just did, or is in the process of doing a collaboration with Charity Water.
So, I don't know, who's the first guy you mentioned?
Eric. He's one of the founders of I Can Has Cheeseburger.
Oh yeah. So he's actually on one of the advisory boards for Dogecoin.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they went on then and did a Charity Water related thing, and they got a well built, and then they went on and They did the most recent is they got this sponsored was it NASCAR? Yeah, NASCAR is sponsored and it has a big dog on it and says Dogecoin. It's actually going to be racing in a couple of months. So this community is doing really weird things, but what's happening is they're going into the comment threads on Reddit and they've written these bots and they can go on and let's say you say something really funny or insightful, I can tip you like 100 Doge. And so people are tipping people like crazy. And so they actually do more transactions now per day than Bitcoin.
That's crazy.
All based on this tipping culture. So imagine and this will actually be working in here in probably the next couple months, you could install like a plugin into your comments or on your articles and someone would be like, oh, Tim, that was like a great article. Here's $2. And they just tip you Doge. And there's no transaction fees. There's no cash out fees. Like all this stuff is like basically all in this virtual currency. And it's tied to comments and to content. So it's like the first, everyone's been talking about like microtransactions for a very long time.
Yeah.
This is the first like thing that might pull it off. Yeah, so it's kind of like one of these movements that I've just been kind of keeping an eye on. So I had a chance to sit down with the founder, interviewed him, and he was a fascinating dude. But I just think cryptocurrencies in general, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Bitcoin by now, but it's just a fun kind of space to watch. Yeah. There's another really geeky one I won't talk about, but another altcoin. But it's gonna be a pretty cool space to watch. When I go
bring it up, and so you're not gonna talk about it. What's it called?
So, God, this is gonna like blow a lot of people's. This is just like really weird and geeky. So, do you know how web pages back in like say '95 were just like static HTML?
Yes.
You go to a website and it'd be like, "Burp," there's the page, and that's all you kind of got.
Yeah.
So then there came like scripting languages that sat on top of web pages, like JavaScript and some others that allowed you to do things more dynamic and kind of create better, more interactive pages.
Yeah.
So someone has figured out, a group of people have figured out, it's called Ethereum.org.
Okay.
They have figured out how to use the decentralized nature of the Bitcoin blockchain and provide a scripting language on top of it. So think of it as like a way to create instantly applications that are completely peer-to-peer and decentralized with like a few lines of code. So people are creating like decentralized versions of Dropbox. So imagine Dropbox doesn't have to be owned by a corporation. It can be owned by and encrypted by all the masses of people coming together to store data. And so they're creating these really unique, like weird decentralized projects.
Ethereum?
Ethereum, yeah. So it's ultra geeky and it's really early days. Like the subreddit has like 1,000 people following it, but it's something to watch.
I saw a tweet yesterday actually that really caught my attention, which was that, and this may or may not be true, somebody can fact check it, that Gutenberg created the printing press when only something like 8% of the population in Europe could read. And so it just makes you wonder, like, all right, so is Ethereum pioneering something? And of course, this is just the nature of tech. I mean, there are a lot of dead ends and false starts, but it's like, people might scoff at it and say, like, why are these people dedicating so much time to doing something when only X% of the population actually have transacted in any way with Bitcoin?
Oh, I mean,
and
that's
it's
just
just,
one.
But
I agree with you 100%. That's a great analogy, and I think that the way to look at this is like, imagine that Ethereum is kind of like, well, I mean, I guess what is like the early web. It's like, you didn't really know what was possible, and so you built these protocols. Like, for example, like when mail first came out, like email, like there was the SMTP protocol, there was like mail, like there was an easy way to go in, and like I think AOL was the first one to kind of like, make the, you've got mail, and you go and you click and you check, and it was just text and all that. And now there's like rich media being embedded in it, and like huge file attachments and unlimited storage with Gmail, and like it's clearly like a whole nother world from where it was like, even like 10 years ago. So I think the way to look at this is like Bitcoin, yes, it's super geeky. Yes, to send someone money, you have to send this weird hash. My mom's never going to figure that out. No one's like that. It's way too hardcore. Yeah. But oftentimes with a lot of these technologies, they start off as being extremely geeky. Yeah. And the innovation, that's a real big solid chunk of innovation. But the next big piece of innovation that happened on top of that are how to smooth out all the rough edges so that it's really approachable for mom. So that, and she doesn't need to understand how the back end of it's going to work. Yeah. And for her, 5 years from now, she may just be like, oh, unlimited storage on the web. I just install this application, and people share the bandwidth costs and everything, and it just works. Yeah. But it was because of what's happening right now with Ethereum and some of these other projects that will eventually lead to that clean, simple interface. They're laying the groundwork for it. So,
well, they're doing all the underlying mechanics, and then you need someone to put the sort of the body on the car, right?
Right, exactly.
And yeah, I'm so fascinated by it, but just for me, because I don't feel like I understand it well enough, I just don't.
Yeah, well, what I'm talking about now is someone building the engine for the car.
Yeah.
You don't need to go in there and read up on how the engine's being built. You want to get in the nice polished car, turn the key, start it, and drive away, and that's a few years out.
That's true. However, from an investment standpoint,
yeah, this is what I do.
You pay a tax.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I have to pay attention to this stuff. So this is why, I enjoy it. It's like I love reading about.
So we should talk about fun stuff that you've seen or that you're excited about. So one that I'm excited about is, if you want to talk about smoothing out the edges, is this right here.
So I have not tried one of these.
Yeah.
He told me before we sat down.
So check this out. I have been.
Jesus.
All right, wait. So you were asking me, what did I use this for? What have I used this for besides black pepper? Well, there was a point when I was researching the 4-Hour Chef where I became fascinated by insect protein. And insect protein, specifically crickets, were of interest to me. I did eat other things. Were of interest to me because you can get a complete protein. It is highly renewable. It can be very quickly renewed. And you don't have to overly process the protein. That's also something that's very interesting to me. So unlike, say, soy protein isolate or whey protein isolate, where you have different chemical treatments and so on to get it to the state at which you can consume it.
Are crickets pretty much like just pure protein?
Yeah.
Like you just grind up those little fuckers and it's just like a gram of protein?
Basically, yeah.
Really?
I mean, they're light, so I don't know how many crickets you have to grind up to make 1 gram of protein. But this is a company, and I've ground up, I've bought live crickets.
And ground them up in there?
Frozen them, which is important to do. Just like lobsters, they go to sleep. They're actually related. They're arthropods. So if you have trouble with like, oh, I don't want to eat crickets, it's like, look.
They're little tiny lobsters.
They're little tiny lobsters.
I can get behind that.
That's it. Seriously. And if you have a shellfish allergy, you don't want to eat crickets. Same deal. So I would freeze them or cool them and then roast them and then grind them in this. And I tried all sorts of stuff. Now,
did you grind them in that thing?
Yeah.
So I've basically been using that on my tea this entire time.
Yeah, you've already had
crickets.
Yeah, and you're fine. So what I've struggled with is finding anyone who I think.
So I'm going to be the guinea pig, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So choose. These are both.
Can I have this one? I like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, for sure. You can totally try that.
This one says made with cricket flour on the outside.
Yeah. So this company is really interesting. EXO, based on the East Coast. I was introduced to them by a chef friend of mine he runs a very large food organization company, and so one of the co-founders, the one that I know, Gabby, turned down a job at the world's largest hedge fund to pursue this because he really believes in the problems this can solve. Give it a shot. Well, actually, no, smell it for a second. And I've been looking for someone who can actually pull this off because
there's little legs in here.
They're not little legs. You're so full of shit. And the chef that they have working, on this is one of the chefs from the Fat Duck in London, formerly #1 ranked restaurant in the world. So in any case, I was very, very skeptical. I pushed it off. I'm like, I've so many startups to keep track of. It's a consumable company.
Is cricket flour high glycemic index?
No.
Why is it called flour?
What's that?
It's called flour, though.
Maybe you can have black bean flour as well.
All right. How much? This is like 20% cricket, 50% cricket. What are we talking about here?
Oh, I'm not sure.
It's the 1, 2, 3. It's the 4th ingredient. That's pretty high up there.
Yeah. It's a decent chunk of change in terms of cricket yield. And
is this a greener bar, or is that just me?
Say again?
It looks kind of green tintish. Look, there's a big chunk of cricket.
That's not cricket, man. That is pistachio or whatever it is.
Right. Graham, you can try a piece of this?
I'll try it, yeah.
All right, yeah, let's give
you one. Yeah, There you go. So that's the peanut butter and jelly. So I am the cacao nut is currently, so this is exo.co.
Are you investing in this company?
Yeah, I'm going to get very heavily behind this company because I think if anybody can crack this and make it work, it's going to be these guys.
Do you really think like, I mean, I'm not your investment. I'm sure like a lot of people will be into it, but like, do you really think the masses are going to be like, give me some crickets? That sounds great.
You know,
that's a heavy hurdle to jump over for a lot of people.
This is going to be, it's going to be a test. I think.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm kind of like...
Well, try to get over the cricket thing. Just consume it. Let's just say that's a regular protein bar.
Only has 10 grams of protein. It's not that high.
No, they're going to increase that.
Does that mean more cricket? Yes, it goes.
That's how you increase protein in cricket protein.
I mean, I don't taste the cricket.
No. You don't taste cricket. I mean, just like you don't.
It does have a slight lobster taste to it.
This does not have a lobster taste.
What do you think, Graham? Good?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mental hurdle.
Yeah, it's a mental hurdle.
Because, like, honestly,
it's a mental thing.
If I pretend for like 1 second it's not cricket, I'm like, oh, that's okay. But then I go right back into knowing that I'm eating cricket right now. And I'm like, eh.
So I'm going to do an experiment.
If this protein really is better for you, then I'd be into it.
Yeah. Which I believe it is. So I'm going to be doing an experiment at some point in the near future where I consume predominantly insect protein for like a month. I'll do it like the alcohol. and I'll get huge and then I'll beat you up.
We'll see.
So you're looking kind of puffy.
I haven't been working out lately. Are you kidding me?
You do more cricket protein. Anyway, so what else are you? You should try this one. Actually, you can try either one. This has
not bad.
This has the highest protein to carb ratio, the cacao. Keep in mind, this is the MVP, right? This is like minimally viable product. That one's cacao.
So I'm like a beta tester for the cricket bar.
Yeah, this is the cashew ginger. You want to try one piece of this?
I mean, it's good. It's just going to be a hard sell on a lot of people. Unless like people that are working out or like putting on decent muscle when they're eating this, and you can prove that it's better than whey protein.
I've looked at the amino acid profile of this. It's very compelling compared to the other forms of protein that are available.
This one's way better.
Okay, so you like the cacao. Mm-hmm. It's really solid, and that is the one that has the highest ratio of protein to.
Is this low glycemic? It's got dates in it, dude.
It has dates, which obviously are going to be on the sweeter side. So these bars, for me, currently, this one has the least carbohydrate.
23. It's pretty high.
Yeah, I mean it's look at the fat content.
20.
Yeah, so the fat blunts the glycemic response. So you have 20 grams. What was it? 20 grams of fat. 23 carb. So yeah. So this one here, and keep in mind, like I do want these to have a higher percentage of protein. This one here, and if you've ever had a Lara bar, in terms of simple ingredients, very, very similar idea. So
honestly, the ingredients look great. There's like 7 ingredients. They're all things I recognize. Yeah. Like that's awesome.
So this is 20 grams of fat, 23 grams of carb, 10 of protein. That ratio is going to change. But in this particular case, yeah, it's like ground flax seeds, vanilla extract, sea salt, cacao nibs.
Why don't you give some of these away to our viewers?
Yeah, I can do that. So let's do that. So leave a comment wherever you might be leaving a comment, and yeah, whatever.
Why don't you make a Google form and link to it, and they can put in their address?
Well, because there's a supply constraint. Yeah.
So the first 100 people get a bar.
First 100 people?
Yeah, you ship it all out.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I could use ship SHYP.com. Check it out to ship them out.
Jesus.
Dude, I'm doing my Billy Mays thing. I know you've been like kind of punched in the nuts by the protesters and stuff, but I gotta help these. I believe that this company, Ship, they all have the potential to, number 1, solve major pain points for people, and number 2, employ a lot of people. I have no guilt associated with it. I have no guilt associated with it. Zero.
Dude, we can't be ashamed of our investments.
I know.
It's just funny though. You're like, oh, you know, a lot of people are gonna have jobs making these bars.
Dude, I think this honestly.
At the end of the day, We're helping create jobs. You can't be ashamed about that.
I'm not.
No,
That's why I'm trying to empower you.
I'm already there. Like I think that like.
Have you tried this one?
Is that the chocolate one?
Yeah. I don't know what Kevin did here. I'll leave it out. But
It's actually not bad.
which is your favorite flavor? Did you try that one yet?
I've been eating the peanut butter one.
Well, this one. The cashew and
The
ginger.
cacao's my favorite.
Cacao's your favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love ginger, so I'm kind of jonesing for that one. But yeah, okay, sure. So we'll have a Google form. First 100 people, we'll send you a bar, and you will enjoy. So what else are you excited about these days?
I did one investment in a company in San Francisco called Move Loot.
Okay.
And moveloot.com, it's essentially, one of the biggest pain points I think a lot of people face in recycling and reselling furniture in their house. So I don't know if you've ever tried to sell furniture to anyone, but like it's a painful process, meaning like you put it on Craigslist, you get a bunch of people responding back, you write them back, you try to set up times for people to come check it out. Some people come out and check it out, they try and lowball you or whatever at the time. They don't like it. You've invited people into your home that you don't necessarily know who they are. It's just random people showing up. Sometimes people cancel their meetings and they don't even come in the first place. Like it's just a lot of work, right? So what they do is you go on and you take a picture of whatever you have to sell. Let's say you want to sell this table right here. Take a picture and say, I want to sell this. And then they come the next day or the day after, you kind of schedule time through a drop down. They bring professional movers in. They take it out. They don't charge you for any of this. And then they clean it. Let's say it's a couch. They clean it. And then they put it in their warehouse, which is down the peninsula somewhere. And then they put the item on their site where they sell all these used furniture. And they do it on consignment. And then they have a decent audience that they drive traffic into, and people come and buy used furniture. And then they do a revenue split with you. Now, if it doesn't sell after the first 30 days...
So it's like the store that lady ran in the 40-year-old version.
Yes, exactly. Like the eBay store.
Yeah.
But they're not selling it on eBay for you, though.
No, I understand.
So basically what they do then is after the first 30 days, if nobody buys it, they lower the price. They contact you, or I think it's an agreed upon like 20% lower or something like that. And then after 60 days, if it doesn't sell, two things happen. One, they'll either bring it back to your house, give it back to you, or they'll go and donate it to Goodwill or one of these other organizations, and then they give you the tax credit.
Right.
It's awesome.
Actually, yeah. I mean, having just recently moved around the city, it's a real hassle.
They have a ton of people already using it. Like they have some great traction. They just launched 60 days ago, but it's just like it's really making, and actually their marketplace is awesome because they have like all kinds of awesome furniture on there that you can go and buy used.
Yeah.
And they have like a great guarantee on it. Like you try it out for a few days, if you don't like it, they'll come take it back. So if you're buying used furniture and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this.
Yeah.
So I just had 2 chairs that I already sold, and I've got 1 desk on there that I put on there. But anyway, it's just an easy, simple way to get rid of furniture that you wanna,
Cool.
find a good home somewhere else.
What else are you excited about?
I'll tell you what I'm excited about. I'm excited about something that my wife's been doing. So I've been playing around with, and these bands, these health tracking bands.
Yeah.
So this one here is called, made by a company called Misfit. It's called the Shine. Are you familiar with this one at all?
Well, I've seen you wearing it.
Okay, so
And I like the design aesthetic.
So this one here, it's actually, out of all the ones I've ever seen, it's the thinnest and just super lightweight. The battery lasts for like 3 months, so you don't have to recharge it or anything. I'm not an investor in this company, I just happen to like the product. And it does, for the first time, the best sleep tracking that I've seen out of all the bands.
Yeah.
And because it's so light and small on your wrist, you don't even feel like you're wearing it. Like put that on, you don't even notice that it's even on you anymore.
Yeah, no,
And so-
it is a very, very sleek device.
The cool thing is like it detects when you fall asleep, and then it detects when you wake up, and it does a really good job tracking your deep sleep. And so, when I first started off wearing this with Daria, because I got her one too, we started tracking our deep sleep, and we both fell in at around 3.5 hours of deep sleep a night. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. And like, you could tell, like when you have a few drinks, you go and you get like 2.5 hours. You're like, oh crap, that was from drinking too much or whatever. Maybe if you're stressed out, you have protesters at your house or whatever. But basically, what happened is she started meditating. So Daria started this really thing. It's like little tiny habits where you start off like, her first meditation was just like several deep breaths.
Yeah.
And then she started doing 1 minute a day. And then she started doing 2 minutes a day. She's up to like 7 or 8 minutes a day now.
Did she use some type of book or program or anything to help her, or was it just of her own creation?
It was, there is this thing, I think she wrote a post about it, but it's called, some professor at UCSF created this thing called Tiny Habits. So it's like where you start off really, really tiny and then like you work your way into, anyway, long story short, I wouldn't have believed it, but I see her go in the morning and she does it first thing when she wakes up. Dude, she's killing me on the deep sleep. Yeah. Her deep sleep has gone from like 2.5, 3 hours. It was tied with me for weeks. Yeah. Now she's up to like 5 to 6 hours a night of like rock solid deep sleep. And she wakes up jumping out of bed and I'm just like, holy crap, man. Yeah. It's the first time like someone close to me I've actually seen the data. Like it's not like she's like, oh, I just feel so much better. Like we look at the charts and do them side to side and I remember what it was before and she's just killing it now.
Yeah, meditation is hugely helpful. I mean, that's another resolution for me was getting back into morning meditation. That's it.
Have you been doing it? How do you feel?
Feel great. Yeah. And
how often do you meditate per day?
Typically once per day. I would like to do it twice per day, but...
Kind of like the porn habit.
Right, yeah, of course. Who wouldn't want to have... Yes, right, exactly. So, good point. Jesus. So I mean, we can go back into porn if you want. I can talk about porn for hours, but... So, let's talk about meditation instead. Typically once a day, 15 to 20 minutes. I try to do it. If I can do it twice, that's fine, but I don't want to set that as my pass-fail because if I feel like I'm not succeeding, which is the brilliance of something like Tiny Habits, you have to play the game so that you can win.
Yep.
And if you set it up and you make it too difficult at the beginning, this is the whole rationale behind all the 4-hour body stuff. It's like, look, go to the gym, work out for 5 minutes, right? And if you want to stay longer, that's bonus credit. But if you make it, if you make it a quantum leap from never going to the gym to I'm going to go to the gym and work with a trainer an hour and a half, 4 times a week, you're fucked from the beginning. Like maybe if you're in the 1% anomaly group, then you'll make it work. Otherwise, it's going to be too disruptive.
Have you talked to Daria about the dopamine versus serotonin? So anyway, my wife by training is she's got her PhD in neuroscience, so she's like a brain doctor. But she went in and she recently I don't know the first thing about neuroscience. She's not a brain doctor.
She's not a doctor, but well technically, yes,
she's a doctor, but not a like
medical doctor.
Right, medical doctor, right. So anyway, she found this really. She's been really getting into this stuff. I don't really want to blow her research because I know she's going to write something bigger on it, but. She found out that, and I could be getting these flipped, but dopamine is when you play a video game and you've almost won. Like you're right on the edge of your seat, like you're wanting to get that high score. You're like, you're getting that hit of like awesome, like I'm getting so close to, I'm really close, but I can't quite get at I haven't won, right? And that's like one piece, and then the serotonin piece is when you win. That like, oh, I won, that great feeling, right? And so she's tracking this all back to habits and figuring out that like, you won't have lasting habits unless you can actually get to the serotonin piece. If you're always just getting dopamine, you're always close and you haven't won, you won't stick to it. Like that's fleeting. So anyway, there's a lot of really interesting research that's going into this. I know that she talks to a lot of other scientists and is like kind of on the bleeding edge of this stuff. I'm probably butchering this whole thing, but it's interesting.
Terrible job. No, I'm kidding. Also, just put up a piece for those people interested, looking at the effects of heat on the body, which was a guest post by Dr. Rhonda Patrick about sauna use and how it can affect growth hormone, how it can affect hypertrophy, muscular hypertrophy, muscle growth. Also, how it connects to endorphins, and I think they're called dynorphins, which is a related system. Really, really interesting stuff. And also, do you remember when you and Daria came over and super hot bath, Japanese style, plus I think it was 250 milligrams of
oh my gosh.
magnesium oxide. You can use oxide. You could also use citrate or others. But boom! And I remember Daria sent me a note because that's my typical sleep. That is part of my typical sleep routine. I don't know what effect did you have on you? Gosh. Because she sent me a text and she goes, "Holy shit!" and sent me a screenshot. Yeah.
So I came over to Tim's house and we're like, we had dinner and we were just kind of hanging out and just chatting, and I was with Daria and like Tim. I mean, we can say that we're in your new place, right? You moved. Yeah, we're in your new place, and it's awesome. He's got a living wall and whatnot. But downstairs, you have an awesome little setup where you have a soaking bath and also a little miniature like sauna.
Yeah.
And so we all like sat in like the kind of jacuzzi style soaking bath and just kind of chatted and had some sake or whatever. And then went to the sauna, and it's an awesome combo to have those two things. And then we're getting ready to go home. I'm like, hey, thanks, Tim. And he's like, hey, dude. He's like, these guys, take these pills before you go home. And like in classic Tim, like, you know, taking some random pills. He's like, oh, this is sodium, calcium shit. And I'm just like, whatever. At this point, I had some sake, and I'm like, okay, whatever, take it. He's like, you'll sleep well. You'll sleep well. Dude, that was like, I mean, you can go ahead and recommend that to people, but that was like a train. I was passed out. I was so deep. I don't even remember falling asleep. I just remember going home and like, because I was so warm from having done the sauna and everything, I just like go to lay in bed, and like the next thing I remember, like my alarm's going off. Like it was like, I didn't drink, I normally have like a cup of water next to my bed that I drink during the night, didn't get touched. Like it was like, bam, and I was out.
It's like Back to the Future style.
It was insane.
So, well, that probably, or that, I shouldn't say probably, might indicate that you are highly deficient in magnesium.
It knocked me out, whatever it was.
So, I mean, magnesium.
That you roofied me, basically.
Well, yeah, there's that too. You probably don't remember much of the hot tub. But the magnesium, it's a very common mineral or trace mineral.
You can just buy this at Whole Foods, right?
You can buy it anywhere. Yeah, I mean, you can buy it all over the place.
Are you recommending people? Is it more than the normal
Look, I'm
dose?
not a doctor. I don't play one on the internet. But magnesium, if you're on, for instance, a very low carbohydrate diet, and you are not retaining a lot of water, peeing a ton, drinking a lot of water, peeing a ton, you can, in some instances, develop depletion or deficiency in trace minerals. So that could include electrolytes. So you have potassium, sodium, magnesium, etc. And magnesium helps the body to also avoid potassium depletion. So if you get, for instance, I saw this once when I did a kettlebell certification in the summer. Really intense training. I mean, thousands of like cleans and swings and all this stuff every day. It was outside in the sun. And everybody was just pounding water. And I was pounding water, but I was also taking 99 milligram potassium tablets. Why? Because everyone else got horrifying muscular cramps because they're consuming abnormal amounts of water and not consuming the accompanying electrolytes. So I find magnesium, for many reasons, muscular relaxation, but also for sleep.
Dude, you knocked me out. How many milligrams did you give me?
I gave you 250 milligrams, 200 or 250.
There's just one pill.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's super, super light. So you may have a deficiency. That could be.
It knocked us both out. We were both as bad.
Right. So Daria sent me a note, a screenshot, and she said, wow, I normally get X amount of deep sleep. And it was like quantum jump. And it was additional, I think, 2 to 2.5 hours of deep sleep that she got. Now that's not, you cannot directly attribute that just to the magnesium, because we also had super hot baths, sauna, etc., which does help with sleep. Anyway, interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Again,
it's cool.
Simple stuff, right? And if you don't want to consume magnesium through pill form, just do a search, foods highest in magnesium. I think that like pepitas, if you get like the pumpkin seeds and things like that, which are pretty tasty, I think they're also very high naturally in magnesium. There are other things, lentils, I believe, perhaps.
You should do like I feel like you should do like a newsletter that is almost like Dr. Oz style.
Okay.
Like, you know how he always does like, oh, this is my herb of the week or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he has this stuff. Like, you find the craziest stuff. Like, why don't you do
do
like a little something?
That'd be fun. Well, you know what? Just in terms of keeping people sort of in the loop, my podcast is finally coming out.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. Am I still the first episode, or was that one too?
Yeah, no, you're first. No, it was a good episode. It was not the most sober of episodes for either of us. Graham's laughing because he was there. I just remember listening to the episode, and I don't think Hemingway's advice to write drunk, edit sober applies to podcasts. because you can't withdraw the blood alcohol content later in audio. It's a lot harder anyway. So I remember listening to it and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. Like I'm a little awkward because it's my first podcast and I was nervous and just fucking stupid.
Should we just re-record it?
No, it was perfect because I want people to see what my first podcast was like, which was kind of awkward. And funny because we know each other really, really well and I wanted it to be low pressure and like a softball. And then he started chafing my nuts and giving me a hard time and then I got all anxious and it's kind of hilarious. But I was listening to like the beginning and maybe like halfway through I'm like, well, you know, I want to be respectful of your time and respectful to everyone else's time. And then I jumped ahead like an hour later.
Trying to end
No, I wasn't trying to, I was trying to host a fucking podcast and I don't know how to do it. And then I jumped ahead like 45 minutes and I was like, it landed right on me going, well, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I was like, oh my fucking God.
It's great.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Tim Ferriss Show. I think we call it the Tim Ferriss Podcast, and then you try to
the Tim Show, Tim Cast, Tim Talk.
No, I know you're still trying to incept people, and whatever. If it ends up being that, then fine. But for now, if you search for it, by the time you see this on iTunes, you should be able to find at least one episode, maybe two. First one goes from sober to not sober pretty quickly. But we get into like deep stuff, and I think that's part of the reason you enjoy Foundation is that you can sit down with someone, even if you've known them for a while. The format is different, and you learn things about people you've known for a long time because typically you're not sitting down and interviewing them for an hour.
Right.
And I've really enjoyed it. The podcast is not at this point anything for money, but I've recorded a number of episodes, and I'm actually really enjoying the process. I mean, it's been super fun, and I've tried to throw some curveballs in there. You know, like we were talking about, not all tech people at all. So I have like a chess prodigy, hates being called that, but Josh Waitzkin is the second episode, who was the basis for Searching for Bobby Fischer, the movie. And he's just a fantastic, incredible learner and teacher. So he has this methodology that he's applied to many different skills, and he's become world champion in other things.
Sweet.
Which, by the way, so the book club, The Art of Learning is one of my favorite books, and that is his book. So The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. You should check it out. It's on Audible. It's everywhere else. And as I'm meandering, so check out the podcast. Let me know what you think. If you prefer drunk or sober or both. The one with Josh is sober.
It's always nice to have a glass of wine.
Yeah, it is. It is. I love wine. I gotta say, I do. This one, one other thing that I'm trying to do is get back into artwork. So I used to fantasize about being a comic book penciler, and I've actually been taking classes. I went down to went down to Filoli Gardens, which is amazing. If you're in the Bay Area, you have to go to Filoli. My parents told me this years ago, and I was like, I'll get to it. It's down in Woodside. It is one of the most stunning places I've ever been, and it's 30 minutes away. It's really incredible.
They do art classes down there?
Yeah, they do botanical art classes and things like that. It's really gorgeous. So I partially wanted to get back into using pencil and ink, but secondarily wanted an excuse to get down to Filoli. It's incredible. This is the time. By the time you see this, it will be the perfect season to go. You have to go to Filoli Gardens if you're anywhere in the Bay Area or even in Northern California.
Sure.
But so this is a fantasy of mine come true. I'm waiting for some retort. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what that is.
All right. So this is this is one of my favorite graphic novels. So this is Slain, the Horned God, Pat Mills, Simon Beasley. God damn it! I wish I really knew how to pronounce that, but I've never heard it said, so I don't know. I'll just say Beasley. And Simon Beasley did Lobo comics back in the day.
Lobo, you used to love Lobo.
I mean, so you kind of recognize.
Yeah, totally.
This type. There have been many artists who've done Lobo, but I got hooked on Simon through his work with Lobo. I mean, like, look at this artwork. It's just unbelievably good. It's all hand painted. It's
great.
Amazing. But check this out.
I can see you having big prints of this in your
Oh
walls.
My God, it's amazing. And this graphic novel. I mean, Pat Mills, huge credit to you as well. The collaboration is just incredible. And so I sent this out as part of my quarterly package, which I guess you also received. Mm-hmm. And so I sent out this box, quarterly.co, and I send out this box every 3 months of things that I'm obsessed with. And it's always very eclectic and mixed up. Anyway, I'm not sure if you noticed this, Kevin, or not, but So this, I commissioned Simon, who's one of my heroes from childhood, to do an original art piece to put into this print run, which was just for my subscribers at Quarterly.
You just told him you're like, I want a buff-ass pig?
No, I said, it's up to you. I want you to like, yeah, this is like warrior pig / hog. Anyway, so that's an original Simon Beasley piece done exclusive.
Did he send you the original?
No. I might still try to get it, but
if you commissioned him to do it, he should send you the original.
Well, you know, I would like to have it, Simon, if you're watching. I would love to have it. Very commonly, the artists in this type of situation actually keep the piece. If it's being used for something like this. I know. I would love the original. Pat, if you're watching this, please drop a note to Simon.
Oh, Simon.
But in any case, so looks something like that. I'm not gonna show it too clearly. Anyway, there'll be more one-of-a-kind stuff.
Why didn't you just show it?
What? No.
You really like hyped it up like that? We talked about it and you're gonna move it around like that so people can't see?
All right. You know what? Fine. So here it is. And this is one of the guys from the, I did it that way.
So they'd go and buy the book?
No. So they subscribe to my Quarterly box because there's going to be a lot of...
Well, then they'll get it.
There's going to be well, it's too late for this one, but you're going to get a lot of one-of-a-kind stuff. The point, what's so fun about the Quarterly for me is that I have now reached a critical mass of subscribers where I have, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 or more subscribers that I can do this kind of stuff, like commission one-of-a-kinds.
Cool. I think I might do Quarterly. I like it.
You should totally do it, man.
You find some really cool stuff.
What would you? I mean, you find all sorts of weird stuff.
My stuff would be really cool.
Yeah, like what? I mean,
for example, I just took this bonsai class.
Okay.
On how to like dwarf and make little tiny bonsais. I want to make. My dream is to have like a little tiny orange tree with like little baby oranges that I can pick off and just like eat the orange.
That'd be amazing.
So anyway, I found a really like I talked to one of the best bonsai masters like in the Bay Area, and he recommended this like kind of like obscure bonsai book. And it's like this is like so that would be something I would include in mine. Would be like an awesome bonsai book.
Yeah.
And like just like you and I like to dabble in all kinds of crazy stuff. I think
you should. Well, we'll talk about that.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do like a little Quarterly thing. You'd probably get a few hundred people to subscribe.
Oh, I'm sure you would. It's fun to put together too, like to get the feedback from folks.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Like the titanium sunglasses with the bottle openers.
Dude, honestly, Tim's Quarterly. I like 90% of what you put in there.
Yeah.
Those titanium glasses were like worth it for. Well, first of all, they were way more expensive than the Quarterly.
Yeah, they're like
I don't know
140, 150 bucks. So
like normally.
And so they're worth more than the box altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're the best glasses ever. I'm gonna buy like 4 more pairs.
Awesome.
Do you have a pair nearby that I can show people?
Yeah, actually I do.
They're actually really cool, and I like them because they're just like a classic sunglass.
Yeah.
They're not trying to be anything fancy. The bottle opener on the side is kind of cool too. I opened one bottle with them, but yeah, these are just so cool.
I've been using them a lot.
I hate trying on sunglasses in front of people because it's like always embarrassing, but like they're just basic, just like a basic sunglass.
Very classic.
Very classic, and this is all titanium on the side.
Yeah, hard to break, which is important for me because I always break sunglasses.
Anyway, yeah, I was stoked when I got those.
Yeah.
Sweet. So that's it. I'm done.
You done?
Got anything else? Gotta get back to your computer.
No, I don't want to get back to my computer. I want to get back. I want to go outside and play with plants. I want to go outside and actually get some like nature time in. It's such a gorgeous day. Cool.
All right, dude. Good seeing you.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you in 6 months.
See you guys.